It can be so frustrating when our health is affected by the changes in weather when September and October arrive. We can suffer health challenges because of the change in climate, and we can also already have health challenges that gets exasperated during this seasonal change. However, there may be some things we can do to help us alleviate those challenges. Hi, I'm Gil Jervis, and welcome to Life After 65. As an avid reader and researcher, I've recently made it my mission to use those skills to explore all the ways my husband and I can live healthier, more fulfilling, and truly exciting lives as we learn to redefine aging. And I started this channel to share what I'm learning with anyone else who has the same goal. Well, I'm like clockwork. When September comes, I spend at least a month coughing. And every year I use my 2 inhalers and my prescription drugs to get my bizarre symptoms that's actually a result of a form of acid reflux under control. I'm not affected by food. I'm affected by changes in the weather. And once I begin coughing, I can't seem to get it under control. As a matter of fact, even though it's improving, you might be hearing some hoarseness in my voice throughout this episode. Now, do you have your own challenges when the leaves start turning color and the air gets crisper? In this week's episode, I will be sharing 9 health challenges that can develop during autumn, and I will offer a few strategies to manage them so that you and I can enjoy spending some time outside. First of all, a health challenge that we can experience at the beginning of autumn is seasonal affective disorder. It's particularly common in people living in northern latitudes, where, guess what happens in the fall and winter months also? Less daylight. And this reduced daylight can trigger this disorder, which leads to symptoms of depression, lethargy, and even changes in our sleep patterns. Decreased sunlight can cause lower energy levels and motivation. Interestingly, I learned that women are more likely than men to develop SAD with a ratio of about 4-to-1. Unfortunately, people over 65 could be misdiagnosed since so many of the symptoms of SAD overlaps with common issues experienced by older adults. You might be told you actually but you have depression rather than SAD, because of course SAD can cause low moods, loss of interest in activities, and fatigue. Or you might be told you're experiencing cognitive decline, since symptoms like difficulty concentrating and having memory problems are also part of SAD. Or on the other hand, you might be quickly told that you are experiencing SAD when you complain about fatigue and changes in sleep patterns, when those health challenges could actually be due to other physical health issues or even a result of the medications you're taking. So to prevent a misdiagnosis, make sure that you get a comprehensive assessment by a healthcare professional. That includes a detailed medical history, a physical examination, even an assessment of your mental health so that your doctor can decide whether you have SAD or something else. Probably the most important indicator whether you have SAD is, when did your symptoms begin? Did they begin when autumn arrived with less light in the day? But if you are diagnosed with seasonal affective disorder, 3 things will be mainly suggested for you. The first one is bright light therapy. This involves exposure to a bright light box for a specified period of time each day, usually in the morning, maybe for 20 minutes. And this light therapy actually helps regulate the body's internal clock and improves mood. A few years ago, I had a physiotherapist who said that she immediately put on her light box when she blow dried her hair and put on her makeup. I have one that sits on my desk because it's a 2-in-1 light therapy, a light therapy and a regular desk lamp. And so it just means that it's more convenient for me. I don't necessarily have SAD, but it's pretty well known that most people up north or northern latitudes are affected by this less daylight time. And so there's so many of us that use the light therapy to help improve that our moods, our activity levels. If you're interested in taking a look at it, I'll leave it a link below. It's called the Happy Light Duo. For yourself, you might choose a standing lamp. I mean, just consider where you will place your lamp, since it has to be in a convenient place for you to use daily. But if you have severe symptoms of SAD, your doctor may recommend antidepressants. Or 3, you'll be encouraged to find that some physical activity to do regularly can also help SAD. Personally, if you actually are diagnosed with SAD, you might even want to go see a physiotherapist to make sure that you can do exercises that might help you with those symptoms. A second common health challenge. Some of us experience more joint pain and arthritis during those fall months. The cool or damp weather can exacerbate joint pain and stiffness in those people with arthritis or other musculoskeletal conditions. Or if you have other chronic conditions, which is still related to the arthritic family, fibromyalgia. You're also more likely to be challenged by the cooler weather. And most of us with these inflammatory diseases, we can actually predict when the weather is getting colder. When there's a significant change in barometric pressure, humidity must be rising. This is how I'm feeling. When my kids lived at home, they often claimed that my body was a better predictor of weather changes than even a meteorologist. At any rate, increased discomfort can cause reduced physical activity, which unfortunately can further impact our mobility and our joint pain and our overall health. I just wish there was one pill or treatment that could keep all that pain under control. But for most of us with inflammatory diseases, we need to experiment to see what other things can help lessen the pain. So yes, we are given prescriptions, but I'm sure those of you who have these inflammatory diseases, you've experimented with pain creams. And if you have arthritis for a while, you've been trying out a variety of creams. Does this help the pain? And I've tried many myself, and I still will continue experimenting. But currently, I think the prescription I now receive from my doctor is helping the most. But I use that phrase, helping the most, very loosely. But it's a compound cream. I'll ask your doctor whether this compounding cream is something that can help you. I'll leave in the comments below what is in this compounding cream. Or you may have found a cream that actually works for you. And please leave the name of this product in the comments below for others of us to read. 2, have you tried compression gloves? These gloves provide gentle pressure that can help reduce swelling and stiffness in our arthritic joints. I find I use them, most often during cold, rainy days, or even during the colder, snowy days, any really weather changes for that matter. Anytime I get a flare-up, I put on those gloves. And inside, I like having my fingers exposed so that I still have some normal hand function. But if I'm going for a walk outside, or if my pain inside means I'm not going to do much anyways, I'll wear compression gloves that covers all of my fingers. Popular brands that have both kinds of gloves, they include Thermoskin, iMac, and Vive. Well, it's important to choose gloves that fit well, providing adequate support, and that it still allows for comfortable movement of your fingers. Now, other people try pain patches. Some people I know have a terrific amount of success using pain patches. But with these inflammatory diseases, I find that you really need to experiment, since each person responds so differently to each suggestion. But if you have a patch that works well for you, leave also that in the comments, please. But the most common way is heat. The Arthritis Foundation recommends using heat therapy to help relax those stiff joints. Now, I quite like my infrared heating pad. It seems to help soothe the arthritis in my back. And I enjoy using a paraffin wax bath as another type of heat therapy for my hands and for my feet. Heat encourages the blood vessels to dilate, bringing more blood and oxygen and nutrients to the affected joints. So with better circulation and stiff muscles start relaxing, which eases the joint pain. I like the wax treatment also because it actually makes my skin feel softer. All right, another relaxing heat therapy. Just soak in a hot tub. Or if you're able, do you have an actual hot tub? When you get a flare up, sitting in front of those jets, oh my goodness, it can feel good. But if you sit in a bathtub or even a hot tub closer to bedtime, it can help you have a more restful sleep with less pain. You might be just even a little bit more relaxed. Now, a third challenge during these autumn months is we can have an increased risk of a fall. Wet leaves, rain, early frost can make outdoor surfaces slippery, which increases our risk of falling. Now, if you have other health issues such as arthritis and fibromyalgia, those colder temperatures are making your muscles and joints stiffer, which could also affect your mobility and balance. So if you have those concerns, I'd highly recommend you're using a cane when you go for a walk. I mean, I have a bright turquoise collapsible cane rather than the typical brown cane, but I use it often in those situations. Fourth health challenge is that in cooler weather, we're actually at higher risk of hypothermia. I mean, as we get older, our body's ability to regulate our body temperature actually lessens. However, chronic conditions such as diabetes and thyroid problems or cardiovascular diseases can also impair the body's response to cold temperatures. Even certain medications like beta blockers or sedatives, they can interfere with the body's ability to respond accurately to the cold. Also, as we age, our metabolism begins to slow down, which in turn reduces the body's ability to generate and retain heat, making some adults over 65 more susceptible to cold conditions. You're also then at risk of hypothermia if you have limited mobility, which prevents you from staying physically active, which is obviously essential for generating heat. So, how can we prevent these risks? Dress in layers. Stay active. A fifth health challenge are cardiovascular concerns. Cold weather can cause blood vessels to constrict, leading to higher blood pressure and potentially increasing the risk of heart attacks and strokes. Therefore, check your blood pressure regularly. Activities like shoveling snow, which will happen more toward winter, obviously, but heavy lifting, all those things can strain the heart, particularly in those with pre-existing cardiovascular conditions. Now, my husband had a heart attack a few years ago, and I have since been trying to convince him to buy a snowblower. Well, last year he finally agreed, and then ironically, we didn't have very much snow that winter, and he keeps telling me that. But this winter, I suspect he'll be able to use it because that was an anomaly. A sixth challenge, how we can easily become dehydrated in cooler weather. We can feel less thirsty, and therefore we drink less water, which of course leads to dehydration. And of course, dehydration can affect our bodily functions, which can cause fatigue and confusion and more severe health issues such as urinary and kidney problems. You could even be diagnosed that you are experiencing cognitive decline, since mild dehydration can even affect our concentration, which causes confusion and irritability. In other words, as it begins to cool outside, make sure you and I are still drinking lots of water. Seventh challenge is that we can experience more sleep disturbances. These shorter days and longer nights, it all disrupts our circadian rhythms, leading to sleep disturbances, insomnia, or excessive daytime sleepiness. The drop in nighttime temperatures can even make it difficult to maintain a comfortable sleep environment. I mean, there's many strategies to help you sleep. But if you own that light box, place it on your bedside table. Use it while you read for 20 minutes. Many people say that that truly does help. Let me know in the comments below if that helps you fall asleep. But again, sleep disturbances are very complicated. You need to experiment to find what strategies can help you sleep. An eighth challenge during the fall months is when we experience, oh my goodness, those common allergies. Ragweed and mold are some of the common autumn allergens, and they cause hay fever symptoms such as sneezing, runny nose, and itchy eyes. I mean, if you suffer those allergies every year, make sure you are prepared. Make sure you've talked to your doctor, saying, what medications will help me the best? And so that you're ready, so that if you do get these symptoms, hopefully you can get them under control more quickly. I have a very frustrating health challenge, as I mentioned earlier. I mean, when I'm outside, I don't get those particular symptoms. I seem to be allergic to wind, or perhaps some of those things flying by through the air, but it makes me cough and cough and cough. I mean, I still use the traditional strategies such as cough drops, cough syrup, gargle with salt water. I have other medications too, I mean, my inhaler, my prescription. But actually, I've been finding that what helps is when I take a couple of days of a voice fast, which helps lessen my irritated throat. But I find that voice fast is definitely challenging. But the ninth challenge, it's a common one. But it's still frustrating because how many of us get colds and flus during the autumn months? It's not in our imagination that people over 65 and younger children are the two age groups that experience more colds and flus in the fall. A study from the University of Michigan found that aging affects immune cells, and I hope I say this right, alveolar macrophages, which are crucial in the lungs' defense against respiratory infections like the flu. And these cells decline in number and effectiveness as we age, which reduces the body's ability to fight off viruses effectively. I mean, there are differences of opinions what vitamins we need to take to build our immune system, whether we can benefit from flu and pneumonia vaccines. But that's a personal decision too, what we do we vaccinate, what vitamins we take. But there are a few things that everyone seems to be in agreement, how we can support our immune system. And one, that's to eat that balanced diet rich in fruits and vegetables and whole grains and lean proteins. Foods high in vitamin C and D and zinc and antioxidants can support our immune health. And second, physical activity can improve our circulation, reduce inflammation, and support our overall immune system. And third, practice good hygiene, just as we did during the pandemic. And that means being vigilantly washing our hands frequently with soap and water, using that hand sanitizer when soap is not available, and avoid close contact with individuals who are sick themselves. And finally, of course, sleep is crucial for a healthy immune system. And finally, find out if you have a vitamin D deficiency, which could also affect your immune system. And by the way, if you're enjoying this episode, please consider subscribing to this channel. And if you do, please leave a comment below that you have subscribed so that I can thank you. Now, our goal is to keep looking for strategies to manage all those health challenges that can occur in the autumn months. I hope some of the ones I've mentioned might help, but we have to be always vigilantly looking for strategies if we know that we often have, health challenges during those months. Because our goal is to enjoy spending some time outside, because it is truly a beautiful season. And I have 10 activities you could add to your list of things to do during this beautiful time. 1, take scenic walks. Enjoy the fall foliage by just walking through the parks and nature trails and seeing all the leaves that could be falling on the ground and paying attention to the colors of the leaves. Or 2, just visit a farmer's market. Buy the seasonal produce like apples and pumpkins and squash. This is a great way to support local farmers while enjoying those seasonal flavors. Or you could attend a fall festival. Participate in local fall festivals, which often feature activities like hay rides, but even if you don't want to go on a hayride, there's usually always music and seasonal foods and, there's usually some crafts just to enjoy wandering around. And number 4, many birds migrate in the fall making it an excellent time for bird watching. Now, we have our Canadian geese, and right now they are preparing to migrate south. So just outside my kitchen window, I can watch their V-shaped formation as each bird flies slightly above the bird in front of them, which apparently reduces their wind resistance. And my husband and I listen to their loud honking as the flocks, well, we don't know whether they're exercising, preparing to go off for south, or whether some of them are actually already leaving. But we know that when there are no more geese in the sky, when they've all finally left, we know winter will be soon arriving. Or number 5, are you a gardener? Autumn is a great time for planting bulbs that will bloom in the spring. You know what? I'm not actually a gardener, but when I see other people's yards with tulips poking out of our hard ground in the spring, I think I'm going to do that in the fall. I'm hoping that this is the fall that I will do that. Number 6, sit outside, just enjoy a cup of tea or cider. Too often, particularly those of us who have our different health challenges, we tend to stay inside and look out. But you know, that sun, when it's shining and that sky is blue, put a sweater on and sit outside with a mug of tea. I just love it, breathing in that crisp, refreshing air, looking at the leaves, saying, oh boy, those trees are turning color. Soon, all those leaves will be fallen, and soon winter will be arriving. Or check to see if you have a corn maze near you. And we've got a wonderful corn maze near us, and we haven't walked through it in a long time. Recently, my grandkids have, and they came back so enthusiastic. And I thought, why don't my husband and I just ask some other people to go together and we could go on this maze? I'm hoping we do this before it gets too cold. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, please click the like button. Also, you may be interested in watching the video below about 9 easy tips to prevent a fall. Now, I'd like to end this episode by sharing a little of Winnie the Pooh's wisdom when he said, it's the first day of autumn. Oh, a time of hot, chocolatey mornings and toasty marshmallow evenings, and best of all, leaping into leaves. See you next time.